All right, let's bring in former head of House Intelligence Devin Nunes, also Mike Davis, former law clerk to Justice Neil Gorsuch and a legal expert. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on. Trump facing 4 counts: conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights. The former president has been summoned to appear later this week at 4 p.m. August 3rd at a courthouse in Washington, D.C. Devin, we're going to start with you. Your understanding and your reaction to these charges as they are.
Well, the first one, the count 1, Rob, is very telling, because that is exactly the statute that should be used against DOJ and FBI officials, not just for what Jack Smith is doing, but for what the DOJ and the FBI did back in 2016 election, the 18 election. Do we have to remind people of the Mueller hoax? Do we have to remind people of the Ukraine impeachment hoax and how the DOJ and FBI hid information from the Congress while we were doing impeachment of President Trump over a phone call to Ukraine? Then they interfered in the 2020 election. Then they interfered in the 2022 election. And now they're interfering in the 2024 election. So count 1, conspiracy to defraud the United States government. That is exactly what should be used against what is now up to probably several dozen current and former DOJ and FBI officials. And my guess is this leads into the Biden White House, which is why I think as the Republicans begin to look at this investigation of Biden for impeachment, they need to start with the DOJ and the FBI, get all the documents, and interview every single person that has been involved in this charade that has been ongoing now for nearly a decade.
So true. Mike Davis, talk about this surprise statute, they say, which Jack Smith had lying in wait. It was the conspiracy against rights, or the deprivation of rights. This is the one that comes back from like the Civil War to protect black voters that were being targeted by white supremacist groups like the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, the audacity to try and bring something like this out shows their desperation. And of course, it has a racial tinge to it, which, like everything else that this administration and this DOJ does these days.
Jack Smith is Merrick Garland's partisan hitman to take out Donald Trump, their boss's chief political enemy. Jack Smith is used to getting overturned unanimously by the Supreme Court, like he did when he tried to take out Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell before 2016, a likely Republican presidential candidate with a bogus legal theory that was overturned 8-0. Jack Smith's goal here is election interference. He doesn't care if the Supreme Court ultimately reverses this conviction several years down the road.
Yeah. Devin, I want to show, I can't show it, but I want to read it real quick, just part of Mike Pence's reaction to this. Today's indictment serves as an important reminder. Anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be the president of the United States. Now, this is Trump's former vice president, and I'm sure over at MSNBC they're going nuts with that because they love something like this. But this is also a person that's trying to be the candidate in 2024. And more importantly, it's so interesting, Devin, that he never has much to say about all of the things that happened in the last election that kept him from being the vice president for the next 4 years, including the DOJ's actions to suppress the corruption of Joe Biden and help install him as president of the United States in 2020. There's not a lot of reaction from Mike Pence about that, but he certainly gets very mad at Donald Trump.
Yeah, look, I think all of the candidates that are out there on the Republican side, and I said this a few weeks ago when the last indictment came, which is if you're not out there saying that this is outrageous, that this is the weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI against your political opponents, you start there. If you don't pass that test as a Republican, from my perspective, you might as well just get off the stage. And I think that's what you're seeing. The only one that I've actually seen of candidates that have out there, I think he already put out a statement, which is the Vivek candidate, who's actually now in second place. Yeah. So that ought to tell you where the Republican electorate is. So my guess is all these other candidates who are refusing to call this what it is, if they haven't found the exit door, they're going to be finding it very, very soon.
And I really do believe, to both of you, I really believe that a lot of people that were turned off by Trump, and he did turn people off, we can be honest about that, but I think there's a great awakening happening in this moment where you're realizing that so much of what turned you off was being manufactured. And people start to realize, imagine going through all of this. Imagine the power that Washington has to rid itself of somebody that it doesn't want, to rid itself of somebody that it doesn't like. He got the full force of that. I mean, and the fact that he keeps punching back and keeps trying to come back just shows you just how much he wants to, I think, help this country. I really believe that. I think he wants to help fix a rotted country that has a lot of problems, that's losing the greatness that it had back in the 70s and 80s when he made all his money, and we had something really great here. He wants to save that. He wants to protect that for his grandkids. And I just truly believe that in my heart. Devin and Mike, thank you both so much. We appreciate it.